come to the front. I'm going to grab some more water.
All right, we're going to start. Who is going to be in leadership? Be here. If you're not in leadership, please go to other room.
Hi.
And everybody come to the front who wants to be part of the leadership. Please.
They're quite noisy, aren't they? When someone's speaking, it's like, ooh, they're so clever though. So good. Love them. From England. Yes. Where are you from? Portugal. Ah, nice. Such a lovely country. Such a lovely country, isn't it? Okay. Right. Are you staying here for leadership? Yeah? Come to the front. Okay.
Your daughter went for...
Yes.
Yes.
With your son. Yes. Thank you so much.
No.
Yeah. She was a bit like, oh, I don't know them. But she's confident and they're lovely boys. So they'll be, yeah. I'm sure they are.
So.
Yeah, fine, so she can ditch it.
They don't need to be all together.
He cares, yeah. That's true, and I think we good.
Someone to give her a ride.
Yes, absolutely.
That's wrong.
Yeah. Either or, okay. Oh, look, we've got chairs and everything.
Can you guys make everybody leave who doesn't want to be here? Because there's so much noise. We cannot even speak. We don't have a microphone. Like this.
I love it, yeah. Okay.
If you're not in leadership,
Right.
we love you, but please go. Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, hello. Yes. Nice to see you all. So we're going to be chatting about leadership. We thought first of all we'd ask you guys what you think leadership is. Like what kind of things come to your mind when you think of leadership? What do you think you need to be a leader? Any thoughts? An example. Brilliant. Both of you said that. Be inspiring. Love that. Anything else? Support people, yeah. Yeah, excellent. Strong person. Okay, yes. Do it first. Love it.
Help people find a way or find their way.
Help people find their way. Confidence.
Having and providing vision and clarity.
Providing vision and clarity.
Providing.
Vidico, thank you.
We had one more, I think, Annabelle.
Eagle-eye vision.
Eagle-eye vision.
Yes.
Be authentic.
Be authentic.
Love that. Love that.
Someone said something similar, but to be able to pass the vision, to see the goals, to pass it, not only to teach, but to the people, to all, to them, to see the same as we can see it.
So communicate the vision.
Yeah.
Love it.
That.
So what is a leader not? What should a leader not be? Pushy. It's like a boss, right? Yeah. What else? What else is a leader, or should a leader not be? At least for our vision in DOTERRA, right? Needy.
Needy. Yes.
Do all the work for others.
Do the work for others.
Do work for others. Yeah.
We do in the beginning, but
Serving spirit.
So what is leader not?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Selfish.
Selfish.
Taking. Yeah.
Best,
Excellent.
best to others their own responsibility.
Yes. I love
Because
that
I
too.
think in DOTERRA we have a model, and the model is suited for only a certain type of leader. What I mean with it is you cannot threat anybody because you cannot be fired, right? So in a job, or maybe if you work for corporate or you work for government, there's a lot of different kind of ways to create leverage. I mean, you can be very bossy and get stuff done because people are afraid to be fired. But this doesn't work in doTERRA. So doTERRA is a different animal, and I really like it because it has a lot of room for good kind of leadership, and the bad kind of or the bossy kind of, it will not work because people become lazy. So it's that's why I think I love this model. It incentivizes good behavior as a leader, and it punishes wrong behavior because people will go and they're like, well, you're not my boss, I'll do something else. So we do not have a stick. Maybe we have a carrot, which is a little bit of bonuses, but we don't have stick. So this is really nice. So that's why it's good to talk about this. What kind of leadership works in doTERRA? What does not work in doTERRA? And for some of us, we have to unlearn, right? Maybe some people that have their own company with employees, with employee mindset, who just want to learn or just want to do what they are being told. And then you do the same in doTERRA, it doesn't work. Because people are not your employees. People are their own entrepreneur. They have their own company. So if you treat them like employee, maybe they'll do something, but they hit executive or maximum elite. They will never go silver. They have to go silver because they want it for themselves. So sometimes, as leader, I think it's very important to know what not to do. Sometimes even more important than to know what to do. Because the most important thing is not to make our people confused that they are our employee. So sometimes we can motivate too much. Because if we motivate a lot, they think, maybe this thing isn't really good because he's trying to motivate me so hard, it's maybe not already good. And if you then the people are like, oh well, like maybe I have to follow you and do exactly what you do. Then they become a little lazy and they become like employee in your business. And they will reach a ceiling. They will reach maybe elite, but they will never start dreaming or thinking for themselves. And this is, I think, very important. What is the most important danger is to treat people too small. It's like being their manager, not a leader, being their manager. And to take up too much of a role to solve their problem. So I like some of the ideas that you want to solve, but sometimes if you solve their problem too much, they forget it's they should solve their own problem. They feel like children. Oh yeah, I'll just call my upline, they solve my problem. Or you take too much responsibility on your shoulder to be the strong one and to carry them. But yeah, you can carry maybe 1, 2, 3 people if you're very good. But if you want to be successful, you want to have hundreds or thousands of people. You can never do that. And some of your leaders will look at you like, I never want to be like you. Yeah. You're like a mommy for all your children. And you're the crazy one. They don't want to do it. So I think in a doTERRA leader, very clear, don't be their mommy or daddy. Don't fix too much of their problem. Maybe empower them, it's good. So they can become confident, they solve themselves. But make sure the people carry themselves. Don't be the leader that carry the people. I say this from own experience. And I think Rebecca has this experience as well. But this is why we share our experience. Yeah. With the best of intention, sometimes we can mess up really bad. And it's most of the time we take too much responsibility and try to fix too much of the problem. It keeps the people small, but also it makes us burn out as leaders. So some of my ideas.
I love what you said, and it really resonates completely with me as well, because I think stepping into leadership, in doTERRA, like you don't get much practice. I think it's like being a parent, isn't it? Suddenly, like things are thrown on you, and suddenly you're elite, and then suddenly you're premier, and then wow, and then you're silver, and suddenly you think, wow, at silver, when you were elite, you thought, oh, I'll know exactly what to do at silver, and suddenly you're at silver, and you're like, oh my goodness, I'm supposed to be a bit of a leader now, and I have no training, and you can fall into that trap of taking, I remember that feeling like, wow, now I am responsible for everyone's success. you know, and I took that on, and it became really heavy actually and very draining. And I would go on to those mentor calls and feel like I had to fix everyone's problems and had to be this stalwart leader that led everyone to success. And that's not it in doTERRA. What this perfect structure we have is we get to lead by example. And I love what you both said. There was two answers. The first answer from both of you was example. And I think that's the best way. We don't need to be perfect. We don't need to be anywhere near perfect. In fact, the more flawed we are and show it and still go on and still continue and just show up every day as our flawed weaknesses, limited selves.
Like Roger said, like being authentic.
Yeah, being
to
authentic.
to avoid wearing the mask of perfection.
Yes.
It's very difficult because
Yes.
when you feel seen, most of us, when we feel we're on this spot,
Yeah.
lamps are on us, lights are on us, people looking at us, most of our first reaction is to wear a mask because we
Yes.
feel we're supposed to be someone. Even when I sit here, I feel like, oh, I should say some smart things. You know, you feel the pressure, like, oh, they put me here, I should come up with some smart things. I don't know what to say. And then so we all feel the pressure of living up to expectation of people looking at us. And sometimes we feel in fall in the trap of wearing the mask. I talked to Roger last night of like, we try to fill the role, and we play a role in the beginning. Like, I play this, I have to play the leader now. Or they find out I might be nuts.
And they'll leave.
they find out who I really am. I should really fill this role now. Like, and then maybe if we're too perfect, people are like, oh, I can never be like you. It's not inspiring at all.
Yeah.
It's more inspiring if they see you really try but not really work out. You're busy with your kids. You have bad sleep. You also have bad days, and they're like, okay, if you can do it like this, I can do it like this because I'm a mess. Everybody's a mess. Just some people hide it better. But this is just inspiring. I think this model is very good to inspire by example. And the more authentic we can be, the more the ripple will go. People feel like, oh, I can do this too. I can do this too. The moment people say, like, I can never be like you because you're the crazy one, it stopped growing.
And I think, have you read first of all, have you heard of the book Vulnerability by Brené Brown? I don't think that's the exact title, but
Perfect
you've heard
Imperfection?
of, there's that one, and there's Leadership is Vulnerability or something like that. So
All
Brené
Brené Brown
Brown,
stuff, yeah.
really, really good. It's about, yes, being vulnerable, but being powerfully vulnerable.
Not sad,
so we're not
sad
talking
vulnerable.
about,
Like, oh,
yeah,
this is such a
exactly,
bad day,
bringing all your moaning. You don't moan to your team. You know, you don't do that. You don't, focusing on the things that aren't working. Oh, yeah, the economy's down and, you know, people aren't buying anymore. It's not about that.
Some people think like vulnerability means we have no filter, but that's not the same thing.
Yeah. No, vulnerability is knowing, you know, you've got these vulnerable things. We've all got limiting thoughts. We are human beings, and that makes us perfect. But we go forwards with those vulnerabilities. They become our friends. They become part of our journey and who we are, right? And we take ownership and responsibility of that and do our best to overcome our own stuff, right? And put things in place as well to help us up-level ourselves. So when I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about in this, the first thing that came to mind for me was true leadership is first of all leading yourself. Forget about anyone else. If you really take full ownership of leading yourself, you don't need to worry about leading others. You will, by default, lead others, and others will come to you. They'll be magnetized towards you, and again, through your example of leading yourself, they will then be empowered. You know, people don't need to be spoon-fed, as we're saying. People don't need to be taught. People are geniuses themselves. We're all our own geniuses. We know our inner power if we really just have a chance to tap into it, right? So as you step into your power and show others how you take that leadership, you own your weaknesses and you find your way forwards with them, process those emotions in the time they need to be processed. Sometimes shut them down for a little period. you know when you need to do the things you need to do and take that ownership. You will free others and inspire others to go, okay, he's doing that. I can see he's got weaknesses, and he's creating a structure around him. He's allowing these emotions to come up. He's processing them and moving forwards. He's not letting them stop him, right? That's the thing here. Emotions can stop us for a time, right? And as you get more into owning and becoming your own leader, those time periods where those limiting thoughts can stop you become shorter and shorter. And that takes practice. And that is why I believe true leadership is when you start to really uncover your own power of helping to solve your own stuff, then you can liberate others and help them to do the same. And then you're creating leaders. You're not creating anyone that's dependent on anyone else.
You don't want to create followers.
You don't want to, no.
Yeah. To add to what Rebecca says, as a leader, it doesn't matter if you're successful in corporate or in doTERRA. I've learned that in every level, there's a new devil. Every level, there's a new devil. Every level, there's something new that stares you in the face. And sometimes it scares us and we hide a little bit.
Yes.
But it's about getting back up, and people will notice. And if we do that with our own devils, and we do that with our own development, this is what can inspire people. And I think in a healthy doTERRA business, we are next to each other. Nobody is above, and nobody is below. And of course, in the system, when you open it, it's different. But the feeling in how we connect to each other in our team is we are next to each other. And this happens when we all feel that we're facing our own demons. I will not fight anybody else's demons. Everybody fight their own dragon. So I will do this business with people that fight their own dragon. If they don't fight their own dragon, it's okay. In the past, sometimes I tried to fight other people's dragon.
Yeah.
It never worked. It come attack you in the back. But we all fight our own dragon, and if somebody doesn't, you don't. So it's very, very important to have this boundary. This is, I think, something we learned. Most of the pioneer leaders in doTERRA learned this the hard way. We take up too much responsibility, but we had to learn to set boundary. This is your dragon, this is my dragon. I fight my dragon, you fight your dragon. And to sometimes let people have their own. If they don't want it, we work with somebody else. And if they don't want it, we work with somebody else. And this is very important. This way we keep our own energy healthy, we stay happy, and people can, when their time is ready, they fight their own dragon.
Absolutely. And the key word there was boundaries. I think as a leader, you need to get clear on your boundaries. And again, that's something you evolve into, right? At the beginning, I think it is quite natural. It's hard to avoid the wanting to be there for everyone. And maybe because you're not feeling good enough as a leader, so you over-deliver, right, to try and compensate. I've certainly been there and still there in many ways. So it's really important to set those boundaries and to, also own that you are good enough and you're perfect the way you are, as well as the person is perfect the way they are, and you're on this journey, and don't feel like you need to over-deliver and give too much, and that's depleting your cup. So another part of self-leadership is, and this I've learned this the really hard way, because I got very depleted and put myself right at the bottom of the pile. And I actually think the most important thing when it comes to leadership is filling your cup. So you cannot lead yourself, you can't lead your pet dog, you can't lead your children, you can't lead any single person if you are depleted, right? So I'm going to be talking about this a little bit later. And the first thing I do in life now for anything I want to achieve, it's like, well, where's me in this? What am I giving me? How am I filling myself up so I can then be the best person for me and for those around me as well? So that is a key part, like really filling your cup as a leader. And it seems sometimes it'd be more natural to do the other thing, right? It's to like give everything to everyone else. But that's like the opposite. That's depleting you and you're unable to show up for anyone powerfully. So.
Completely agree with Rebecca. And for me, it means I'm a recovering people pleaser. And recovering people pleaser means people pleasers most of the time are people pleaser because they had trauma. Mother or father were not present, and they felt they had to really work hard to get the attention. So a people pleaser feels like I have to really first make everybody happy, and then there is room for me.
Yeah.
So this was one of my trauma. And in doTERRA, it showed up that I was there for everybody else. And then if everybody was happy, I could be there. And if only one person was not happy with me, I would first have to fix that problem before I was able to be happy. And everybody else has their own trigger or trauma. But this is kind of, self-development and finding your path in healing is probably number one as a leader in doTERRA. Number one. Make time for that. Make 10 minutes a day to read a book that touches you. Find a coach or a therapist or something that resonates with you. Something that helps you love yourself more, heal yourself more. Because this is the only way. And to be honest, I think this is the new marketing, the new branding, the new attraction. Because people will feel it. That where you are is healing. That where you are is hope. That where you are is love growing. And that's what people are attracted to unconsciously. And this is something that is, if you forget this, you will remember it when you're 3 years down the line and you're empty and you're like, oh crap, man, like, this is what happened to us, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. and as you step into leadership more, you will get judged, and that's okay. So this is why this part is so important, that you start by filling yourself up and loving yourself, because if you're judging yourself, and then others are judging you, that's when you can fall, right? And that's when you can really recoil and not want to be out there.
Their judgment falls into very fertile ground in yourself because you're already judging yourself. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And that's when it can cause damage. Whereas if you are daily building yourself and loving yourself, then what other people think of you will be able to bounce off much more easily, right? You'll be able to and then you'll be able to love more, because people don't judge. They're not trying to be nasty.
They're projecting their own stuff.
Exactly, they're projecting their own stuff. So that's why if we're all working on ourselves, then that's when everyone can rise together, right? So you as the leader, again, by example, show how you love yourself. You're not going to judge yourself, and you're not going to judge others either.
Maybe it's just Dutch culture or British culture. I don't know, Portuguese culture, but in most cultures, if a leader becomes visible, people will project their stuff on the leader.
Yeah.
And it's just the thing. It just
it.
happens, It's not because they want to be annoying. It's just what happens. And as a leader, your chance is to what can you slide off?
Yeah.
What is something you need to listen? Because some things are good feedback.
Yeah. Yeah.
And some things are not for you. They're from them. It's very difficult. This is a thing you don't learn from a book.
No. And when you're balanced, you are able to identify, they've got a point, actually. And from humility, not from oh my goodness, I'm so bad, look at me, and start crumbling. It's more like, okay, that they've got a point. I can look at this, and they can help you to grow, and you can be grateful for that, And obviously I'm not saying I'm always grateful for things get pointed out to me. Obviously not.
Sometimes we come home and tell our partner,
cry.
What are the
Yeah, we'll go, but we're all progressing, right? And that's what leadership is. We're not ever perfect at all. So it's like this. It's like building doTERRA. Leadership's the same thing.
I hope we haven't scared you off.
Yeah.
But I think the amazing thing is that doTERRA is a vehicle for personal growth. And it's not that you have to grow to become successful, but by becoming successful, you will grow. And it's a good gift, great gift for yourself. You cannot get this education in school. Yeah.
How much time have we got left?
3 minutes. You cannot get this education in school or anywhere else. This is what doTERRA. And I always say, if you want more intensity, you lean more into doTERRA. doTERRA lean more into you. And you want to have a little bit more chill, you lean a bit more back, and doTERRA leans a little bit more back. But the feedback is always there, waiting for you to grow.
Absolutely. And it's exciting. It's so exciting. This is what we're here in life to do, isn't it? To grow and to become the best versions of ourselves, and to be able to give our fullest potential. And doTERRA provides that vehicle. And becoming a leader, it is that. It's becoming. You know, Boyd Truman said, and it really resonated with me, we are not human doings, we are human beings. So it's the journey. You know, often we're such in a rush to get to the end, whereas actually this is the end. You know, our life is right now. That's all we ever have. So it's being present in that moment and being grateful for what we have, and it's the becoming. And this is what doTERRA is, the gift of doTERRA. It's who we get to become. And I guess the final thing I want to say is commitment. So being a leader, so we've talked about self-leadership and taking ownership and responsibility. To really be a leader, you need to be committed. And that's about showing up even when you don't want to be. So you commit to those daily things, those core values that you stand for, you are committed. And there's sometimes when you'll fall out of that commitment, and again, it's not about judging yourself, but just seeing where you're at. You know, once you have your vision, you have your goal, to really be a true leader, it's about committing no matter what.
Thank you. So before we wrap up, before we wrap up, I'm curious, what is your takeaway of what we just talked about? Anybody who want to share something? Do you have a takeaway? Or is it just
or anything to add?
funny to laugh at us? It's also good.
Yeah, because you guys are all leaders as well, so we've just talked a lot. But you know, anything you want to share as well that you feel will be really impactful to
The
you.
mindset of what leadership is in cultures very different because I found that in Germany, leadership means managing quite strongly.
Okay.
And in the conscious and the concept of American thinking, it is including the self-development, personality development, mindset change, and so. So when we speak in German of leadership, the English leadership, we have a broader perspective than the German will understand, because they have this narrow-minded, more narrow-minded
corporate management.
Yeah.
So the word is quite interesting.
Yes.
So many paradigms.
Wow.
The word leadership.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very bring forth the different pictures.
I can
Thanks.
see that. And does doTERRA help them to then step into that more expansive role? That's cool.
Nice.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Anybody else want to share some takeaways or other things you want to share?
Yes, the part where we should not do everything for others, and people pleasing, of course. If they see us doing all of those things and being stressed, they think, oh, I don't want to be like her.
Yeah.
Because she's always so stressed and so full of things, and so it's too mature.
Yes.
And so that's something I'm trying to not delegate, but inspire others to do things as well.
Yeah. Thanks.
With Premier Club, that helps as well.
Nice.
Yes.
It's very good. So that we don't do Diamond Club by ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everybody carry their own load. At least.
Yeah, love it.
I like the idea that you said, like, to lead other people, the only thing you need to do is lead yourself. Yeah. It's simple, but it's so true. Because if you're really on the way to something, and you're focused on that, then there will be some people that are interested in the same place you're going. You can just follow them. You don't have to follow them. You just go with it.
Yes. Yeah, and also it's the one thing you have complete control of, isn't it? So, yeah.
I can do my thing.
Yes.
If you cannot have discipline over your own life, you can never inspire others to do the same. It's impossible.
No.
It'll be fake. Yeah.
There's this fine line between, oh my God, I'm never going to be like that person, but again, if you just do your thing, no matter what the other things.
Yes.
Well, yeah, for some people it's going to be too much, but it's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. You're on your own path, aren't you? It's all about you. Yeah.
I think one of the things that you just said is super important. If I want to be like that person, I need to model myself after that person. But actually, in leadership, it's about finding your unique identity and being more of that.
Yeah.
That's going to be inspiring
that.
Stephen Covey wrote a book, it's called The Eighth Habit, and it's about this thing. He says it's to find your own inner voice and help other people to do the same. And not to find your voice, but to find their own inner voice, right? So this is what leadership is, I think, to help people find their own inner voice. Then they're connected to something that's bigger than you or bigger than DOTERRA.
Yeah, no one can do you better than you. It's the one thing we're all professionals at, right? So we might as well stay in our lane.
And it's, I think it's what Detlef said. It's the difference between a manager who just tells people to follow, or this is what you need to do, and follow me. This is not what a leader. That's a difference with a leader, I think.
Have you found ways to bridge that gap in the minds of most people who are in that mode of I want to follow instructions? Shift them?
Sometimes you just don't give them the answers, and you have to figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah. So like on mentor calls, for example, when they come to me and say, "What should I do?" And I'll go, "Well, what do you want to achieve?"
Give it back.
And give it back to them. So what do you think you can do? And
so,
just
it's more about what not to do, because if they tell me what to do, and I'll tell them what to do, I made a mistake of like making them a really nice follower. You know.
Yeah.
It's like really. If you have this habit, you have to like withhold yourself or like just give it back. Like, what do you think? Or give them a responsibility, like organizing this event or doing part of the event or a speaking thing. You present the composition plan. What to do? Well, check out the website of DOTERRA. Maybe you find some examples, so you'll figure it out. And for some, if it's too much of a jump, but you help people make their own jumps, but you don't lead them by the hand or hold their own hand always, because then they stay children. Yeah. So it's more like what not to do than what to do. Yeah.
Yeah. And often if you're quiet for long enough, they'll come up with the answer.
Yeah.
You know, often you feel like you need to fill in that space, don't you?
Switch off your phone.
Don't. And something else I was going to say. And letting go of your own if say there's a way that you think things should be done, that's often a challenge for a leader, right? So
or
as
your
you
need
give
to be needed,
people,
or your need to be needed.
Yes, or you need to be needed as well, definitely. Yeah. So letting go of all that stuff, so you're not making it about you at all. You know, let them do it their way and let them fail, as Jose gave the perfect explanation of fail. You know,
pick
the
themselves
trying,
up again,
pick themselves. Exactly. Like don't let it go. So sometimes if you're going to give them a presentation task, for example, don't make it be the way you'd present. Let them be free with that, you know, and learn.
Don't be too much on the how. So sometimes it's good to like, can you do this? The what? Maybe you can share a little bit of the why. But if you're too detailed on the how, you treat them like a child. Well, like figure them out. Let the how figure it out. You know. And this is sometimes a little bit of problem with too much details of a system. This is how to do it. Sometimes it's good, but sometimes it makes people feel like a lazy follower. Yeah. Like everybody, I do things different than Becky does, and my wife does things different. Like, it's okay to do the how a little different.
One of the things I feel like we can do, though, and to help people feel empowered, is to just believe in them. You know, it's amazing you coming as a leader, and even just asking them gives them that belief that, oh wow, they think I'm ready for that, you know, or the things you say to them and allowing them to lead themselves and give them that space gives them that confidence. So you as a leader, it's not to like tell them what to do, it's just to believe in them, be there, you're their sounding board sometimes, and you love them and you believe in them. And that's often all they need to just ignite themselves.
And this is one other reason why you want to always do self-development, because you can never believe more in another than you believe in yourself. Yeah. So if you believe very strongly in yourself, sometimes people around you, in your eyes, can start believing more in themselves because how they see you look at them. This is what happened with me in DOTERRA. In the beginning days, I met Roger, I met Frank, I met some of the owners of DOTERRA, and the CEO of DOTERRA, Dave Sterling, he had some conversations with me. And I remember him looking at me and he told me, you're going to be more successful than you've ever dreamed of. And this was not a trick. You know, you can think, oh, it's a businessman, he has a good trick. No. I could feel that this was him looking at me and the way he looked at me. I'm like, okay, whatever. I was not even elite back then in doTERRA, and he's like, you guys are gonna make more money than you've ever dreamed of, and you're gonna be very successful. Like, and I just, something in me felt like this is what he saw in me, and my wife felt the same. And this helped us to believe more in ourselves. And this is not a trick, but whenever you sometimes feel something about somebody else which is good, say it.
Yeah.
And this is what people will grow. This is like watering the plant, you know. The plants will like, oh really, you see this in me? And they might step into that space. It's not manipulation, but it's like help if you feel it. I believe that if you're inspired, maybe it comes from a different source, but you speak this love into somebody else, and if they breathe it in, they can really act up onto it. And I think this is really true leadership. True leadership is growing and believing in your own potential and helping other people to also be connected to that. And this is, then you have unlimited influence. Yeah. This is not power. This is also not management, but it's influence. And influence can be infinite and can also not drain you, you know? And influence is, I always say, power and control is breakable. Power and control breaks, is rigid, but influence is bends. It's never rigid. It's never forcing. So I think as a leader, you want to be on the influence side. This is a way where love speaks and you can really inspire people.
Time.
We're done with time.
Yes,
Good luck with the rest.
Though, amazing end. Thanks, everyone. Thank you. So do we just wait till the next group come in?